A very good morning. The topic for today's discussion, what I have selected is structural from the subject structural analysis 1. The unit is unit number 5, which is moment distribution method. Actually, this is the continuation of what I have presented in the previous video lecture, which is based on unit number 4, the slope deflection method, which normally a faculty will be starting with in a particular subject, structural analysis 1. So the topic for today's discussion is moment distribution method, which normally a faculty will be taking second, because this will be like continuation from unit number 4 to unit number 5, that is deflection and calculation of indeterminate structures, the moments in an indeterminate structure. So normally this will be a continuation, moment distribution will be a continuation, right? So the topic for today's discussion, what I have selected is moment distribution method. So as I said, this is the continuation. So here in moment distribution method, normally we should know when it was discovered. This method was first introduced by Professor Hardy-Cross in the year 1932, which is most probably related to slope deflection. In slope deflection method, normally we will get the moments in terms of an equation, and finally substituting the fixed end moments in this particular equation, you will get the final moments. So here this is an iteration technique. What is meant by an iteration? It is nothing but the repetitive calculation of a particular value till the error gets negligible. When the error gets negligible, we can stop with this particular table, right? So this is like a iteration technique. It goes on continuously repeated till you get a final output, right? So this particular moment distribution method, before going into this particular method of calculation, you should know 4 common terms which is very much useful. The first one will be fixed end moments. Number 2 is distribution factor. Number 3 is relative stiffness. And the 4th is carryover. Okay, so these are the 4 important terms which you should remember, are the fundamentals which we should know to proceed with this moment distribution method. So fixed end moments, as you remembered, this is the method which we have started in slope deflection method, the first step. I will give you a small hint. So fixed end moments, there are 3 common terms which you should remember. The major formulas. A, B, right? So assume the first step will be fixed end moments. We have to split up whatever may be the number of given spans into individual fixed beams. So normally these type of 3 loading conditions we will have in our problem. Assume this is W per meter, UDL load. This is a point load at the center of the span, right? And assume there is one more load W which is not in the center of the span. So there will be 3 normal conditions which you should remember, right? So fixed end moments, it is a common formula. It is minus WL square by 12, and here it will be plus WL square by 12 minus WL by 8 plus WL by 8 minus WA B square by L square plus WA square B by L square. So here these 2 values will be common, but here there will be a change because the load is not at the center. Here you will have B square, and on the other side you will have A square. Other side, you remember it like we have it on the other side of the structure to be a square, right? So it will be WA B square by L square on the left hand side plus WA square B by L square on the right hand side, right? So these are the common terms which you should remember before proceeding here. Why we have a negative sign and a positive sign on the other side? Because normally if you take any fixed beam, the bending profile is going to be like this. right? So here it makes an anti-clockwise rotation, here it makes a clockwise rotation. Always we used to take anti-clockwise as negative and clockwise as positive. That's why we have taken negative on the left hand side, positive on the right hand side, right? So whatever may be the number of spans given, a 4 span or 3 span or a 2 span continuous beam which is given, you have to split this into fixed beams having the same load which we have in the problem, right? So here this W is W per meter, the intensity L square divided by 12. And here WL by 8, W is the load which is given, L is the length of the span. WA is left side, B is right side square divided by L square, right? So these are the fixed end moments which you should know, right? So this is step number 1 in moment distribution method. Whatever may be the problem that is given, you calculate what is the fixed end moments. Only normally 3 loading conditions were given, minus, 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 plus, 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 and the values you can remember, right? And the second step what you will be remembering is the distribution factor. The distribution factor, from the name itself you would be clear, we have to distribute the moments here based on the stiffness. Distribution factor means it is a numerical value. Based on this value only I am going to split the uneven moment into a particular structure. Assume I will start with a small example here. Let me have a fixed beam, continuous beam where there is one central support and 2 fixed ends, right? Assume because of the loading I have a moment here. Normally I say fixed end moments will be like this. Left side is negative, right side is positive in the previous fixed end moments, right? So this fixed end moment, assume there is a central point load. So let me assume equal values 5, 5, and here let me assume this is 5 kilonewton and 8 kilonewton. So this is going to be varying. So 8, let me take this as 8 and 8, right? So you forget this particular load, you remember this particular values which I have here, right? Normally we know in a particular joint, assume this is A, B and C. In any joint, the algebraic sum of moments on both the sides should be equal to 0. Here it is an anti-clockwise 5, it means minus 5. So let me draw this separately. Here it is minus 5, here it is plus 8 because it is clockwise. Clockwise moments are positive. So minus 5 and plus 8. So here there is an unbalanced moment, right? So this moment is anti-clockwise 5, this is clockwise 8. So this has to be balanced. So I have to put a moment additionally and this moment has to be distributed to the sides, right? Because I can't simply add a moment because that is not analysis. If I want to make it to 0, simply I can't substitute 3 and I can't say it is minus 8 and plus 8. Algebraic sum of both the sides will be equal. But on what basis this particular 3 is introduced here is this moment, if it is added here, how it is distributed between these two. It is based on the stiffness of the member, right? So distribution factor is a numerical value based on which I am going to neutralize these two moments. Minus 5 and plus 8 will be neutralized based on the distribution factor which I have, which is a variable of relative stiffness. So relative stiffness and distribution factor are one and one together. So this relative stiffness is a value which is a dependent of distribution factor. Distribution factor value is a dependent of this relative stiffness, right? So now we should know what is the definition for stiffness. So this I think you would have studied in your MOS subject, mechanics of solids. Stiffness is nothing but a force required to produce unit rotation or displacement in the structure, right? So this is a common definition for all stiffness, right? And normally this is denoted with the symbol capital K, right? And one more term which you should know is relative stiffness. Relative stiffness is nothing but small k, it is equal to by sigma k. That is algebraic sum of all the stiffness in a joint divided by the stiffness in that particular member, right? So normally relative stiffness can be easily mentioned. There are two cases when the far end is fixed or continuous. Relative stiffness is I by L, and the second case is when the far end is hinged. It is 3 by 4 I by L. So these are definitions which is arrived from the stiffness, but it is not having that much importance. So you remember these two values. When the far end is fixed or continuous, the value is I by L. When the far end is hinged, it is 3 by 4 I by L, right? So I am telling it is 3 by 4 I by L, far end is hinged and far end is continuous, right? So let me give you an example with the diagram. I have a span like this. Here the load will not play any action. Here, since we deal with the stiffness, it is related to the length and I member of the member, that is moment of inertia of the section. Size of the beam and length alone will play its part here, because you can see in this diagram I by L. So I is the term which is a variable here and L is a variable. So you don't have to bother about the loading which is acting in the structure. So whatever may be the load in the structure, you don't have to bother about the loading, because we need to calculate only the relative stiffness of this particular member, right? So I is one moment of inertia, the size of the beam here, so here. So I assume if I have 2I here, it is going to be a variable, right? So only the I value and L value is going to play a part here. So let me come to the first span. When you take the first span, let me assume this is the first span, where here it is a continuous end, right? So individually each spans has to be taken. So assuming AB, this is A, this is B, right? A, B, this is fixed. So the relative stiffness of the joint A, it has to be looked from B. The far end is fixed, so it will be I by L. And when you look at B towards A, from A, it will be continuous. Here you have to mention it is not a simply supported end, it is a end which is continuous, right? So continuous ends, the formula is I by L. So I by L, I by L. Likewise, the same thing will happen for BC, because this is continuous, this is continuous. So continuous, continuous, it will be I by L, I by L. So what happens when it comes to joint CD? When it comes to CD joint, one is a continuous support. Here this C is continuous, but D is a end which is hinged. Even though this is hinged, we used to say that is continuous, because we have spans on both the sides. B is a joint where two spans were getting connected, A and C. So B joint is a continuous joint, C joint is a continuous joint, D is a hinged end. So here when you calculate the relative stiffness of the member, here it is going to be I by L. But when you comes to joint D, when you look at C, it is a far end which is hinged, so it will be 3 by 4 I by L. Right? So is it clear? So here we have two notations which has to be followed. Relative stiffness, the far end is fixed or continuous, it is I by L. When the far end is hinged, it is 3 by 4 I by L. So this is which very important term, based on which the moment distribution table is going to be formulated. So definitely when you do a small mistake in this relative stiffness calculation or the distribution factor arrival, the complete problem becomes a mistake and you will not get the final answer correctly, right? Coming to the fourth one, carryover. Carryover. I told you we have to introduce a moment in the joint, because I said here it is 5 and here it is 8, right? 5 and 8. So here when we introduce an additional moment to neutralize this particular joint, half of this moment will get transferred to the other side. What I want to say is, here if I want to neutralize this, I am going to add -3 here, right? I simply can't add this -3 here. Half of this -3 will be carried over to the other side as 1.5, right? So this value is 0.5. This carryover 0.5 value is called as a carryover value 0.5. This will be applicable only for continuous and fixed ends. Hinged end carryover is 0. Hinged end carryover factor is equal to 0. Right? So we have to remember there are only two carryover factors. When it is a fixed or a continuous end, the carryover value is 0.5. When it is a hinged end, do remember I mean hinged end, not a continuous end. Hinged end carryover factor is 0 because it has to be nullified. It has to be 0 when we start the problem, right? So it will be made 0 before proceeding with the problem, and this particular value will be 0.5 for carryover to all the other sides, right? So now we will start with a small example with which the moment distribution method can be easily understood, because I have told you the fundamentals, the 4 important parameters which we should know. Now I will start with a small problem with which we will make it clear. The understanding of this particular method will be much more easier, right? So let me take a small problem, a very small problem where the ends were fixed, A, B and C. It is a continuous beam. The span is 5 meters. Let me have a central point load here, 5 kilonewton. Let me take same load here, 8 kilonewton, right? So assume we have been given with a problem. This is a fixed continuous beam having fixed ends, 2-span continuous, having 5 kilonewton and 8 kilonewton as centers. The span is 5 meter and 5 meter, right? So here step 1 will be, as usual, both it is common for slope deflection method and moment distribution method, fixed end moments. So I told you the formula, you have to split this beams into separate beams. So first let me fix this particular beam separately, having a 5 kilonewton load here. This is 5 meters, and it will be minus WL by 8 and plus WL by 8, right? So here MF AB. So left hand side is MF AB. This is MF AB and this is MF BA, right? So MF AB will be equal to minus WL by 12, WL by 8. So here the value is 5 into 5 divided by 8, right? So it will be 10 by 8 minus, right? And MF BA will be equal to plus WL by 8. Only minus and plus sign is going to change. The unit will be in terms of kilonewton meter, since we deal with moment here, right? And the next value is the next span. So suppose if you want to have an easy calculation, we can have this load to be 8 as well, right? So let me take this as 8 as well. So let me take this as 5, right? So the calculation will be easy for us to solve. So let me take this as 5 kilonewton meter and 5 kilonewton meter, right? And another load, same load, so it will be MFBC. This will be A, B, B and C. MFCB. So here also minus 5 plus 5. Right? So here the moments were equal. The span, the moments which were equal. So step 1, it deals with the values, fixed end moments for the span. We have calculated, and the fixed end moments were minus 5 plus 5, minus 5 and plus 5, right? So now coming to step 2. Step 2 will be distribution factor. Step 2 is distribution factor. So the distribution factor, as I told you, it has to be calculated in the form of a table. So wherever we have the distribution, we have to select that particular joint, right? Where do we have the joints here? We have only one joint B, where the moments have to be distributed to joint A and joint C, right? So joint B will be under consideration, and the members which we have to consider is BA and BC. From that joint, to which joint it is looking at, and to which joint it is looking at the other side. So it will be BA and BC, right? So now we have to calculate the relative stiffness of these two members. So relative stiffness, I told you, the far end plays a very important role in this particular case, right? So if you remember what I told you, relative stiffness for a far end which is fixed, it will be I by L. So I is I as it is here, so 1 by 5, which will be 0.2, right? And BC, if you look, it is going to be the far end which is fixed, so I by L as well, so it will be 1 by 5, which is 0.2, right? And then we have to calculate the sum. Sum means adding up of these two values, 0.2 and 0.2, which will be 0.4, and the distribution factor is going to be sum this particular value, the relative stiffness of one member BA divided by the sum, 0.2 by 0.4, which will be 0.5. So how we arrived at this particular value is 0.2 divided by 0.4. So it will be 0.5, and the same value here, 0.5. So the moment, unbalanced moment, is distributed based on the distribution factor. This is the step in which we will arrive at the distribution factor for this particular member. So here joint B is taken because this is the only joint where the moment has to be distributed, and based on the relative stiffness of the member, we have to sum up these two values, and the distribution factor is based on this relative stiffness divided by the total stiffness in the member. So total stiffness of the joint is 0.2 plus 0.2, which is 0.4. The distribution factor is 0.2 divided by the total stiffness 0.4, which will be 0.5. 0.2 divided by 0.4, which is 0.5, right? So this is for this particular problem. Assume there is going to be a small change here. So let me change this problem to make you clear what is meant by relative stiffness. So let me put a value 2i here, right? So the left side member is 2 times the thickness of the right side, right? 2i, right? So here where you will find a change in the particular problem, we can find a change here. This I is going to be 2i because this is dealing with member BA, this is the member BA where the I value is 2i. Here it is going to be I because I have not made any change here. This is going to be I, right? So the only change is assumed here, 2i divided by L. Right, so this will be 2 by 5, right? I is equal to 2, so it will be 2 by 5. This value is going to be 0.4, right? So 0.4 divided by 0.2. 0.2 is for the right span, right? So when you come to the sum, you have to add up these two values together. So adding these two will give you 0.6. Right. So now calculating the distribution factor, it will be 0.4 divided by 0.6. Right. See how a small change in the problem is going to affect the distribution factor. So when I change this particular value to 2i, it is making a change here in the relative stiffness, which in turn will change the sum, and the distribution factor is getting altered here. So here this particular value 0.4 by 0.6 will become 0.67. and this particular value will become 0.33, right? So now the distribution is getting altered based on the relative stiffness of the members, right? So in a single problem we can clearly explain what are the changes that has occurred in this particular case, right? So here this is a simple problem where both the ends were fixed, right? Assume I am going to make one more change in the problem. Assume I am changing this to a simply supported end. Right. So this is what I told you. Normally a problem will look like this. In your university examination, the problem will be like having one fixed end, a continuous beam, and one hinged end. Right. So now what is the change you will feel is the distribution factor. I have not changed the I value. I have changed the support. Right. So now the change will occur here in the relative stiffness because the formula is 3 by 4 I by L. Right. So this formula gets altered to 3 by 4. Right, 3 by 4 I by L, and in turn it will change this particular value, right, into 3 divided by 4 it will come, which will be 3 by 20, right? So the value gets altered here. So this particular sum is going to get affected. In turn, this will affect the relative stiffness and distribution factor of the member, right? So this is how you have to utilize this particular table. This table is common. You have to have these split ups. First will be joint, second one will be members, third one will be relative stiffness, sum and distribution factor, right? But this is a case where we have one fixed end, one continuous and one simply supported end. Assume we have one more span, right? If we have two spans, there will be three joints under consideration, two joints, right? Assume this is D. This is a last end where there won't be any distribution, right? So one more joint will come here, joint C, and you have to distribute between CB and CD, right? So likewise it gets continuously to next problem and next problem. When you have a 3-span continuous beam, you will be having two joints where the relative stiffness will be arrived. You have to calculate the sum and you have to calculate the distribution factor with which we will distribute the moments to the sides, right? So this is an iterative technique. You have to understand this particular concept, how many joints it will come, right? Simply we can't say only one member is going to have the distribution factor. Whatever may be the number of beams which we have here, that much number of joints will come here in the distribution factor, right? So this is step number 2, distribution factor. And the third step which we should know is the distribution factor table, that is the moment distribution table, which will be step number 3. Step number 3 is moment distribution. The complete unit deals with this particular topic. So this is very, very important from this particular problem point of view. So you have to put it in a table form, and I have told you this is an iterative technique. Iterative means it will be repeated again and again. The steps will be repeated again and again till we get a uniform value or till we get the error to be very, very minimum, right? So the first thing what you have to write in this overall diagram will be distribution factor. It is going to be a table. You use the left side for writing the description of what you have inside the table, right? So distribution factor, let me write 0.67, the second value which we have obtained, and 0.33. So this will be the distribution factor, and here also we will have one more distribution factor assuming these values, right? So the values I have written is assumed values, and the problem which is here, one end is fixed, two continuous supports and one last end is hinged, right? So the second thing what I have to write here is the fixed end moments what we have obtained, right? Let me assume -5 plus 5, -8 plus 8, -5 plus 5, right? So here I have taken the values which we have taken in the fixed end moments, -5 plus 5, -8 plus 8, -5 and plus 5, right? So now this unbalanced moment has to be distributed based on the values which we have obtained here, right? So this is the fixed end moment, right? So the next important step what we should know is balancing. What is the literal meaning of balancing is, I am going to balance this particular moment. Unbalanced moment of +3 is having on the left hand side. So I have to calculate what is the value which I have to substitute here to neutralize this particular moment, but it will not be substituted directly, it will be substituted in the ratio here, right? So assume I have a value 5 and -8 here. You calculate what is the difference. It will be 5 minus 8, so it will be -3. We have to change the sign. It will be +3. +3 multiplied with 0.67. So it will be 2 here, and here it will be 1. Right? So if you look at adding these two values, the problem is not over, but I will tell you what is balancing. Right? So I have finished the balancing step in this particular step. So what I have done is I have put a line. You add these two values, it is 7. -8 and +1, now it is -7. Right? So this is balancing. I am balancing this particular moment, unbalanced moment we have here, 5 and -8, right? So now using the distribution factor, I am distributing this particular moment with respect to their distribution factor on both the sides, right? Same thing I am doing here, plus 8 minus 5. You calculate the difference, it will be plus 3. You change the sign, it will be minus 3 into 0.67, it will be minus 2, and here it will be minus 1. Right? So now balancing is over, we have to do the carry over. Right? So carry over is done on all the joints except to hinged ends. So here it is a hinged end. Right? So since this is a hinged end, the carry over will not be done. Here we have to do one more step. We have to neutralize this moment to 0, because the bending moment diagram, if you draw for a hinged end, it should be equal to 0. Right? So what I am doing is I am putting a minus 5 here. Now this becomes 0. So I have to transfer this minus 2.5 here. Half of this, right? So let me transfer all the halves to the other side. It will be 1. 1 transfer to the other side, it will be 0.5. Minus 2 transfer to the other side, minus 1. So half of the value. This is what you have to remember. Carry over is half of the value should be carried over to the other side, which I have substituted for neutralizing, right? So now we have to do the balancing once again, because when I do the transfer here, what will happen is, because of this minus 1, the balancing is one more getting, it is in an unbalanced condition, because if you add the value, you try to add this value, here it is 7, here it is minus 8 minus 1 minus 9, now it becomes minus 8. Right? So once again it is getting unbalanced because of the carry over which we do, right? So this is what we call as the iterative technique. Once again you have to do the balancing, right? Balancing is done once again. We have to balance the moment once again only for the joints which we have here. So minus 1 is what we have here. This is 0.67 and 0.63. So here it is 0. The difference is 1, right? You have to change the sign. It will be plus 0.67 and plus 0.33, right? These are plus, right? And here it is 0.5 you have to change the sign, it will be minus 0.5, half of these values will come, right? So 0.67, it will be 0.33 minus 0.33 minus 0.17. So if you add these two values, it should be 0.5. If you add these two values, it should be 1, right? Likewise. So now we have to do the carry over once again. Carry over will be done. This carry over will not be done. This is a simply supported end. So simply supported ends, there won't be any carry over, right? So this procedure is repeated and repeated again and again till you get a value which is negligible here, because now if you do the carry over here, it will be 0.165, right? So likewise the carry over value will get reduced. So here you can see the carry over is 1, here it is balanced as 0.33, now the carry over is 0.165. Likewise it gets negligible when we do the iteration again and again. So this has to be repeated again and again, and the final thing what you have to do is carry over to the fixed ends. Only this carry over will be done, here the carry over will not be done. The last step in the table. So this carry over 0.33 will be alone done, and we have to stop with the calculation. So you have to calculate what is the final moments. Final moments were nothing but addition of these values from the top to the bottom. You have to add all the values. So it will be minus 5 plus 1 minus 4 0.33. So it will be 3.67. Minus 3.67. So likewise you have to add all the values, and when you add these values, these two moments will be same. So these two values will be same values, and these two values will be same values, right? So now we have neutralized these moments. You have to finish it with the last step, step number 4, drawing the bending moment diagram. So the bending moment diagram can be drawn with the fixed end moments what we have obtained, right? So based on the loading condition, you have to draw the bending moment diagram. The left side, if it is a negative value, you have to put the initial center line. Left negative should be drawn above the base, right positive above the base. So likewise you will have a value. Here if you have a UDL, assume I have a UDL, the bending moment diagram is going to be like this. So this will be the shaded portion, which will be your bending moment diagram. Right? So is it clear? So we have 4 steps in calculating this particular problem. The first step itself, you have to look in the problem where we have a simply supported end or not. If we have a simply supported end, you have to neutralize the fixed end moments which we have here. It has to be carried to the next joint, then only we will start with the problem. Right? The problem will not be starting straight away calculating the distribution factor and fixed end moments. The third step is moment distribution table. When you put the moment distribution table, the first thing what you should do is, you should look at the diagram whether you have a simply supported end. If you have a simply supported end, the fixed end moments will be neutralized. You have to neutralize by putting a minus value here. You have to transfer half of the moment to the other side. You have to sum up all the values. When you sum up, the moment will be 0 here. This moment will be 0, but here you will have a value. Here it is 3.67, what we have calculated in the previous step. Here it will be 0. So this 0 is what we are doing here. We have to neutralize the moment, make it to 0. No carryover will be done to the joint. On the joint, you omit that particular joint in the other calculations. Right? The next step is balancing and carryover. It has to be done repeatedly till you get a value which is giving you a constant value and left and right. If it is minus 5, the right side should be plus 5. If it is plus 5, the left side will be minus 5. Right? So it has to be even on both the sides. Signs should differ because algebraic sum of these two values should be equal to 0. That is our main aim. We do this particular iteration technique. So this step is repeated. Balancing, balancing and carryover is repeated. It has to be repeated minimum 6 to 7 times to get a constant value on both the sides. Right? And whenever you stop the problem, the last step will be carryover to the fixed ends. Inner carryover, once again if you do, you will get a error value. So inner carryover should not be done. The last step will be balancing to the fixed ends. With this we will finish the problem. Inner carryovers will not be done. Right? So this is a general introduction for moment distribution method. It deals with the 4 steps. The first step will be calculating the fixed end moments. Normally 3 types of loading we regularly use. One is central point load other than the center, and a UDL load. Right? So the formulas I think you will be familiar with: WL by 8, WL square by 12, and WA B square by L square, and WB square A by L square. So these are the general formulas, fixed end moments. Right? After calculating the fixed end moments, step 2 will be distribution factor calculation, where you will come across with the calculation of relative stiffness of the member. Relative stiffness is a dependent of length and I section, I value of the member, moment of inertia, that is the size of the beam. Right? So you have to be careful while selecting in a problem. If it is given as 2i, definitely 2 has to be substituted, otherwise the relative stiffness will be wrong. Whatever distribution factor you substitute here will be wrong, the complete calculation will be wrong. So the first mistake what you will be anyone will be expecting will be the selection of I and length of the member. Right? So if you are correct in selecting the I value and the length of the member and looking at the far ends, right? Do remember, this is a continuous end. This should not be considered as hinged ends. This should be taken as simply supported or continuous ends. Only this joint should be taken as simply supported end. So when the far end is continuous or fixed, it is I by L. When the far end is simply supported or hinged, it is 3 by 4 I by L. Based on this, the distribution factor will be arrived. You have to put a table: joint, member, relative stiffness, sum, and then distribution factor. The third step will be moment distribution. You have to write the distribution factor first, then you have to write the fixed end moments, and then you have to do the repetitive iteration technique till you get a errorless value. So now the last step will be carry over to the fixed ends. So here initial first step itself we will nullify this moment and make it to 0. The other values will be drawn. The last step will be drawing the bending moment diagram. So this is a general introduction what I have given. So based on the problem and based on the values which they have given, this gets altered and altered. So you can't say I have not looked at the simply supported end. Some problems may have simply supported end on this side. So this has to be nullified and you have to start with the case, right? So this is a general diagram or general overview which I have given regarding moment distribution method, and I hope you would have understood the concepts of this moment distribution method, which you can apply on any case. So you can apply, if it is a portal frame, you can apply the same concept. The steps is not going to change, only the problem groups a little altered, right? So I think this overview gives you a good idea about moment distribution method, and I hope I will see you in the next lecture with another topic. Thank you.